Hello, everyone, and welcome to Geeky Geezers. I am your host, Aged Boomer. With me is my co-host, PaPa Pacelli.
I was joking the other night. I think we should go to Geeky Geezers.
It may end up happening, Anyway, let me go crack open my drink here. Could you hear that, Pop? I have a Mucho Mango from Arizona.
That sounds really good. I have a Diet Cherry Coke. Because I got to work tomorrow.
Yes. Says great by 99 cents. Does that mean if they charge more than that at the store, I'm getting ripped off?
I'm sure that's a suggested retail value.
I bet they have cans that don't have that on that for the certain convenience stores, right? Probably.
That could be. I don't know. You're not wrong. I know that they tend to have different packaging and sometimes even different sizes for things like dollar stores.
Cool. I'm drinking it straight from the can. No glass tonight. I was watching Pale Rider last night. Feeling a bit rugged today.
Well, and like myself, and I always pictured our shtick here is two old farts sitting on the front porch, saying, "Get off my lawn," and drinking out of a can. We're not going to be pouring it out into a glass. That's for Friday night when we go to the pub.
That's what Eastwood said in Gran Torino, which has also been canceled.
Well, everything related to him has been canceled, I'm sure, at this point.
Yeah, I don't care. He is my favorite actor. Okay.
Should we say hi to our loving, devoted fans?
Give me 1 minute. I'm trying to put the last title on here. Hold on.
This is my fault, people. I didn't do my homework, and so Aged Boomer literally had to put together the whole show this week. It's all him, and it's so he's been juggling way too much.
Fine. No, you were juggling a lot too this week. It's all right. Yeah. Plus, like I said, I have to learn the ropes. Okay.
It's been a full week that I can blame the Jameson on, and now that's passed, and now I need to move on from there.
I gotta get me some of that James. Okay, Matthew Flynn's here. Oh, Netters Network, of course.
Of course, thank you. How you doing?
Hi, Nanette. Okay, Brian Gilmartin, Auditor Dread, Rosefire. Oh, welcome. Shalom and good evening, everyone. Welcome. Rosefire's she's been commenting on some of my older videos. So we actually have someone going back and watching the old stuff. It's fascinating. Okay.
She wants to know what to pick on us for, right?
I guess so. Yeah. No, she's
that's not a bad idea. I mean, folks, if you go back and look at any of our old videos and they don't hold up really well, you might want to come back and let us know. Hey, how's this comment? Lasting over time. Yeah.
But,
it says, I feel excited to join tonight's discussion and have something to share with fans of Dracula.
Oh, she was commenting on the Dracula Western movie with a sci-fi twist that's in the works over at Universal.
Because we did that video about that, right? We talked about it.
The more I think about it, you know what it was? On paper, that could be just nutty enough to work. My problem is what they were saying in the article. Oh, he's the great outsider character, Dracula. No, he's a monster and a villain. No, please stop calling him outsider. Just stop. Anyway, okay.
Absolutely. Horizon Talker, how are you doing, my friend? People, go subscribe to Horizon Talker. He's got a comic book coming out. He's got some great artwork up. He's got a bunch of video content related to that. Go check that out.
Melissa Harrison's sons. Clint Eastwood originally supposed to play Two-Face. That's interesting. On the old Batman show.
I could have seen that. Absolutely.
He might have been better than Tommy Lee Jones in Batman Forever. Of course, he and Tommy Lee Jones both starred together in Space Cowboys.
That's true.
Alea Plus Size here. Good evening.
Did you say hi to Birdman?
Hello, Birdman of... well, I guess not Alcatraz.
No, Daniel Herron.
I know who. I know it is. We're doing Captain America Civil War this week on his channel.
That's right.
And Horizon Talker. I know Troy just said hi, but hi to you as well. Okay.
Big Al Presents. I love how he stops by, says, have fun, guys, and then he goes away.
Horizon Talker, Troy, thanks for the shout out. And I also tell you to check him out and check out the cool creative stuff he's doing. Okay. Order Dread. Okay, I guess that's
Joshua
everybody for now.
V, Zootopia. Skipper Kenner. How you doing, Fuff? Good to see you. You decided to join us on a Sunday night. Okay, I'm going to watch for the heckling throughout the night.
Well, you were talking about videos, how videos hold up. And one of the reasons why I started doing the good old days videos was because I figure those at least don't get dated because they're already dated when we talk about them.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, they're kind of a nostalgia thing to begin with. You expect a couple of old geezers sharing about the good old days, stuff that is either a fuzzy memory for you or actually might predate some of y'all. Gosh, I speaking of which, when I was a kid, the propaganda was how breakfast was the most important part of the day. Right?
Oh, please. Yeah, I heard that too.
And I'll be honest with you. I'd get up for my breakfast, and you'd see that cereal as part of a balanced breakfast. So you were under this impression that you had to have a bowl of cereal with milk, orange juice, toast.
Oh yeah, toast.
And maybe if your mom was really industrious, maybe some bacon on the side. And it's like, who could eat that much food, for crying out loud? It's really just supposed to be a bowl of cereal and you're done and you're out the door.
Every commercial for these old cereals, it's like part of a balanced breakfast and toast. Why is toast such a huge deal?
Which makes no sense, because all it is more carbohydrates and fat, which you're also already getting from the milk and cereal. That's what those are.
You know why I think they're always in those commercials? I think it's because it's something that a kid can make. Well, you could put 2 pieces of toast in the toaster, they pop up, and then you rub the butter on it, and you're all set. And you don't have to cook the bacon, eggs, set the house on fire.
So were you like a cereal kind of guy? You liked cereal in the morning?
I did. I mean, I don't know how much of it I ate before school or anything like that, because I'm getting up for school. I'm not thinking about breakfast. I'm thinking about, I have to go to school today. But I would eat cereal even on any time of day. And I was we had some weird cereals growing up. I used to get them half the time for the toy inside.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big deal. I think they're still doing that with certain cereals. I'm not positive. I know that with I think the best thing I ever got were the Garfield pencil toppers. Do you remember those?
Nope.
No, because we're a bit of a few years between us. The Garfield pencil toppers, I believe they came in Fruit Loops. And it was Odie or Garfield, and they actually had like little pieces. They moved around, like you could like move the tail, and his eyes would go back and forth and stuff. It was kind of neat. Okay,
sounds just loopy enough to be cool.
Yeah, well, it's like a Happy Meal toy. You're not getting like an actual toy. You're getting like something weird. Okay, it was neat, and but I remember too. There are weird cereals based on popular culture properties that they would come out, then they would disappear.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate if you really like that cereal, right?
Sometimes they were good. Sometimes they were actually good cereals that were based on these properties.
I don't know what kind of cereals you liked. When it came to having breakfast, I wasn't into the sugary cereals. Honestly. I liked Cheerios, Rice Krispies, and Rice Chex. Those were my 3 standards. The first...
I'm sorry.
and none of those. I didn't care for Fruity Pebbles. I didn't care for Cocoa Pebbles. I didn't care for honey. I even tried the honey nut Cheerios. Didn't care for those.
What? Okay? They're still around. I get those.
Plain Cheerios. But I did the first sugar cereal that I tried because it looked good in the commercial.
Right.
Was Cookie Crisp cereal. Okay. Now, first, it was very sweet, so I didn't take to it too well. I was also, when you're young, you tend to be getting sick more often because you haven't built up an immunity yet.
Oh, yeah.
And I just happened to get the flu just when I tried this cereal, and I associated the two. I got sick. I threw up, didn't go to school that day, never touched the Cookie Crisp cereal again. My mother ended up throwing them out. I associated with getting sick, so never had the Cookie Crisp again. And it was a lot of years before I went and I tried another sugary cereal.
Okay.
That was just me.
So you never tried any of the theme cereals based on movies?
Not until late in the 80s.
Okay.
So there was one cereal that I got and actually really liked, and it was a sugary cereal. It was back in, actually it was early 80s. I think it was 81. This was around the time of, you know, Pac-Man and video games were just starting to get popular. Donkey Kong cereal. Remember it?
I do. I remember the commercial. Love that crunch. Donkey Kong. And yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Love that crunch. And Mario, you know, clobbering the piece of cereal with the mallet, because the cereals were all shaped like the what are they called? The barrels that the monkey would.
That's right. I think I did get that as well. I know I must have gotten it at least once because it rings so much of a bell. It's like an implanted memory. So I must have bought it at least once. Okay, yeah. Or had my parents get it for me, obviously.
But I never, this is interesting. I never actually ate it for breakfast, though.
Really?
I always ate it as a snack at night.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's how I would eat a lot of my cereal, too.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, Big Al's bringing up this one. I'm going to mention this one next. C-3POs.
Yeah. That was my second one. That one was later 80s, wasn't it? No, actually, this
is all like early 80s. This is after Jedi. Around the time of Jedi.
C-3PO cereal was discontinued in 86. It was introduced in 84. So it was, yeah, I guess it was mid 80s.
Oh.
This was actually after Jedi, right? Because 84, wasn't that like 2 years or a year? No, that was a year after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
yep.
It might have been a year after, and you're like, "Wow, Star Wars is back!"
Star Wars, yeah. And
like,
I remember I wanted to get all of the trading cards that came in them.
That's right. You got trading cards in there. Yeah.
Well, they had trading cards. Apparently, they also had like some kind of plastic Rebel rockets. They had masks on the back. I remember having a Chewbacca mask. The Luke Skywalker mask looks eerily like Mark Hamill. I mean, it's, you know, that like the artwork that like the style that you'd see on the cover of a Mad magazine. So it really looks like him, but just cartoonish enough to be off. But apparently I read somewhere that they also had deals for like mail away to Kenner for action figures, but I don't remember any of that.
I'm trying to remember if I did that or not. I remember mailing away for the Emperor, but that was through the
that was all through the regular, action figure, proof of purchase thing. I don't remember Kellogg's C-3POs, but apparently that's the case because I'm actually looking right now at the article on Cereal Graveyard Wiki. There is such a thing. Look it up.
Oh, Rosefire brings up there was a cereal based on the Swedish chef from the Muppets. I remember that. She says, we begged my mom to buy it, only 2 bites taste terrible. I didn't hate it, but I didn't buy it often. It's not, you notice how that one didn't spring to my head. But someone else brought up, it was Brian Gilmartin, it was the Nintendo cereal. There was a Nintendo cereal based on the NES, and I remember the stupid commercial for it, and it was like, Nintendo, it's for breakfast cereal. Nintendo, it's a cereal. Wow, and it came with, it's like the Nintendo cereal system, and it came with 2 bags. One was for Mario, the other was for Zelda. Okay, and like they were different flavored. You understand?
Wow.
And it came with hints for the games inside the box. I only bought it once. I didn't care that much for it. But a cereal that I loved though was the Batman cereal. When the 89 movie came out. Did you try that at all?
I didn't. I remember it being on the shelf, though, yeah.
That was actually a good cereal. It was like a sweet corn cereal, and it was actually very good. And I was a little upset that it didn't get repurposed into something else, or maybe they could have released it again when Batman Returns came out.
I almost feel like they should just, all of these cereals, they should all be the same cereal. And you just change the shape. You just punch them out in different shapes and rebrand them with whatever you're trying to promote.
Well, let me tell you, that happened with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cereal. Okay.
Were they shaped like turtles?
They were shaped like turtles and like Bebop and Rocksteady, and they had Chex pieces, but they called them Ninja Nets. Do you understand?
Uh-huh.
And I really loved the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cereal. After eating a bowl, your teeth would hurt a little.
Oh,
that's how much sugar. Like the actual Chex pieces were coated in sugar.
I get a little worried about the shape of some of these cereals. I remember I think it was was it a Robin Hood cereal or something that
I
had
remember
little
that.
arrow shapes in the cereal, and they did not look like arrows.
It could have been a novelty themed cereal sold in adult shops. Anyways,
Yes,
um,
exactly.
because I want to tell you that the turtle cereal disappeared, went off the shelf because the turtles became
Yeah,
they basically weren't as popular anymore, right?
right.
But then years later, I see on the store shelf Spider-Man cereal because they had the Spider-Man cartoon on Fox,
Sure,
right?
sure.
And I'm like, looking at it, and I'm saying it's the exact same thing as the turtle
Brilliant.
cereals.
Good.
And except they call, like, instead of it being like like Leonardo, it's the Green Goblin marshmallow. Do you understand? It's like, and I looked on the back of the box. This is the turtle cereal. It's the same exact thing. You're not fooling me, and I still bought it because I liked it. But anyway,
That is so funny. Yeah. Speaking of marshmallows in cereals, I know that's a very popular thing. My problem with that is, are they really marshmallows? Because either if they're marshmallows, they're stale because they go in dry and they're still kind of chewy when you add milk to them.
here we go. We're gonna get on the marshmallow rant, but I didn't want to address roast fire. What do you like to have for breakfast nowadays? I'll be honest with you, the roast fire. I've never been huge on eating breakfast in the morning.
Yeah.
It tends to make me want to run to the bathroom if I eat too fast in the morning. So I'm giving TMI, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But when I do eat breakfast type foods, though, I like the usual bacon, eggs, maybe pancakes, French toast. I love biscuits and gravy. Oh man, yeah.
I've become a late morning, early afternoon brunch kind of guy. So like after my morning department meeting, I'll go and make myself a ham, egg, and cheese bagel, and that'll be my breakfast and lunch.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're doing like a brunch thing then.
Yep, exactly.
Oh,
and I make it as a sandwich, so it's that much easier to eat.
Blasphemy! Thou shalt eat breakfast. Well, we'll see. Like I said, oh man, this reminds me of when I was invited to go on a deep sea fishing trip. Should I tell this horror story?
I'm interested.
I don't know if I want to repeat this horror story. Okay.
I'm wondering though if it results in you chumming the waters.
Yes, it does. Anyway, okay, so we stopped at a Dunkin' Donuts on the way, and it's early in the morning. Like we got up early to go on this thing like 4 a.m. or something, and like I'm like, okay, and I got like some kind of beef soup, right, to eat there. Okay. Big mistake. Do not eat beef stew. And this was the first time I think I'd ever been on the high seas. Okay. Yeah. The real high seas, not the metaphorical ones we talk about. And the boat's going up and down, really fast, up and down, really fast. And I'm standing there and I'm like, after a while, I'm like, this isn't fun like it was the first few times it was going on. And I'm like, and then,
yeah.
And then it'd be okay for a little bit, and then
yep.
And over the side, oh my goodness, seasick. That's what they call seasick, right?
Yep.
That was not fun. I did catch 30 mackerel that trip though.
That was a special kind of bait you used.
Which we used. Yeah, funny. We did. Well, we ended up using because we were in a boat with other people too, and it was like, and then I ended up. I think we ended up using the mackerel for bait to go crabbing with later on. So
there you go.
But yeah, I don't know how good mackerel tastes. But anyway,
we went. I hope she doesn't mind me sharing this story, but Netter and I went out with Skipper Kenner, who's in the stream here, out on his dad's boat, and Netter got real sick, just exactly the same way. I to this day don't remember what she had eaten, but yeah, that was
because I hadn't eaten.
You hadn't eaten. That was
okay.
Yeah,
you should have eaten. Okay.
Should have eaten. Okay.
I, on the other hand, got sun poisoning and my legs swelled up, and it was a trip. It really was.
You have to watch out for the sun. I mean, I know that because I'm a redhead, so pale as all get out, but it's
How did we get on this topic from breakfast cereals?
Because I talked about how I had super breakfast.
Well, it's your show, man. You want to talk about
whatever? Okay, you know,
awesome.
I try. I come on here every night. Actually, I was bringing up last night. We did the Addams Family rewatch on the Netters Network. There was a Addams Family cereal that came out, right?
I did see that as I was looking up the cereals that I was going to talk about. I saw a mention of it.
Oh, was it on Arsenio Hall?
Was what on Arsenio Hall?
When Raul Julia went on Arsenio Hall, was it with the Addams Family cereal, or was it Letterman? I'm trying to remember. He went on a show, and he had they made him eat the Addams Family cereal, and he did not like it.
I'm looking at it right now. Oh yeah, it has the picture of them from that first movie with Raul Julia and whatnot. Yeah, it has a picture of the mansion in the back.
Oh yeah, and it was not. It actually was not very good. And I usually cut cereal slack. I'm probably more generous than a lot of people are with cereal. That was not good cereal. And once in a while, you get a bad cereal. No, I didn't like the Addams Family cereal. I'm trying to think if there are any other cereals that stick out. C-3POs. I know there was Mr. T cereal that I think was similar to the Batman cereal, but that's ringing a bell. Remember the Mr. T cereal?
I do.
I'm trying to think. No, I'm hitting a blank now.
So it looks like I just quickly watched the commercial. It's got a bunch of scenes from the show, from the film, to bring Christopher Lloyd in. But the actual scenes that were filmed for the cereal itself have Pugsley, Thing, and Lurch.
Right. Okay. Because they got them to do the commercial. Okay. Yep. Addams Family cereal. Wasn't very good. I'm not trying to be mean. I thought it'd be like Count Chocula, but it wasn't. Count Chocula is still one of the better sugary cereals out there.
I to this day have not had any of those monster cereals.
Oh, they have all kinds. They even have a. I think they have Boo Berry.
They have Boo Berry. They have.
I think there's a wolf.
Ghost berries.
There's a mummy one, I think.
Yep.
I don't know. You can never find. You only ever find Count Chocula. It's rare when you can find the other ones. Sometimes around Halloween they'll put them in a grocery store. But,
right.
You know, it's like
they usually come out at Halloween now.
You can't find these things anywhere. You know, I mean,
blueberries, right?
I'm telling you, man. Is it me or is it hard to find things these days like we used to? I don't know.
Well, I think the biggest problem is that we have so many more products. So what ends up happening is, and I know this to be true, you'll have certain outlets carrying certain products. So you might be able to find your one kind of cereal at Target, but then you have to go to Walmart for something else, and then you have to go to Meijer for something else. Yeah, they don't all carry the same stuff anymore.
Oh, Brian Gilmartin, Fruity Yummy Mummy. Yeah, that's correct. I've never had that.
Frankenberry, Count Chocula. Yeah.
I know there was
a Fruity Yummy Mummy, right.
There was a wolf one. There was a werewolf one, though. I do remember that.
Yep. Yeah, there was.
All right, but this brings us to our first news article, unless you have any other cereal memories to share.
Nope.
Well, the great thing about cereal is it's the one thing that hasn't been corrupted. There'll always be new cereal out there, right?
Yeah, even if they just repackage it, right?
I still think my favorite cereal out now is a classic. It's Golden Grahams. I do like Golden Grahams.
Never tried
those hold up pretty well. It's another sugary cereal. It's like graham cracker flavored, though. Okay. I know. Okay. Anyway, Ghostbusters Afterlife cereal has already begun hitting store shelves. What? Okay. This is from bloodydisgusting.com.
Cool.
Here's the article. I'll read it. The movie isn't actually releasing until November 11th, but looks like summer 2021 is going to be the summer of Ghostbusters anyway, with all kinds of toys and tie-in products on the way. Jason Reitman's Ghostbusters Afterlife, a sequel to the original classic, is even getting its own cereal from General Mills, and it has already started popping up on shelves this month. The art features the iconic Ghostbusters logo on a black box, along with a trio of mini pups playing around.
Yeah.
As for the cereal itself, it's red, blue, and white, described as follows. Oh, I didn't do the description. Okay, well, I'll describe it to you. This, of course, isn't the first time Ghostbusters cereal has been made, as the original movie got its own cereal back in the 80s. So did the animated series, The Real Ghostbusters. I was looking this up online. And apparently there were all kinds of Ghostbuster cereals made, and they were all different. I remember the original, but I think I did get that. I don't remember what it tasted like, though. It's been so long. Oh, will we see the return of Ecto Cooler this summer as well? Oh, who knows? Okay. I know they did that a couple summers ago.
I mean, I hope so.
Anyway, but is there a description, though? Yes, here's the description. You know why I can read you the description? Because I have the box right in front of me.
Wow, you actually got some.
I have tried it. Okay. Are you excited, people? Fruity flavored sweetened corn puffs with marshmallows and other natural flavors. I don't know what fruit this is. It's red dyed balls, like the red Trix balls, except they're a little lighter. I tried finding out what flavor they're supposed to be. I looked at the ingredients. It's like red dye number 6 and all that good stuff. And I'm sure dextrose, canola oil. There's no mention of fruit at all in the ingredients.
I guarantee you, I know what the flavor is. A natural fruit flavor.
Strawberry.
No.
What?
Citrus. It's citric acid. I guarantee
citric acid, probably.
Yep.
Skipper, he's poking us already. No diabetes warning on the package. Okay. The milk offsets it. Okay, that's why you have the milk with it. Okay, probably not. Anyway, it's all right. I had a bowl of it. I mean, it's not bad, but again, I'm more generous than most people. I am going to say this. You see the bowl on front. You got these. I think the blue marshmallows are supposed to be Muncher, and the white ones are supposed to be the mini puffs. Okay.
Okay.
And I got to tell you. Not a lot of marshmallows in this thing. I know
so what you're going to have to do.
I don't want. What do I got to do?
You have to go and get the Stay Puft mini marshmallows that they are also selling in the store.
Oh, that's what it is. You have to go buy extra stuff.
Yep.
Because you can't get the complete cereal in the box anymore. You have to get extra stuff. No, I'm telling you, it's like they skimped. Do you remember that movie Casino with Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci?
Oh,
and he plays the casino owner.
I do.
Yeah, well, there's a scene in it where he opens up a blueberry muffin, and the one guy goes, "Look, mine's falling apart, and you have hardly any blueberries in yours." And he goes over to the guy making the blueberry muffins. "I want an even amount of blueberries in each muffin." And he says, "But sir, that would take forever." So I don't care. And that's how I feel about these marshmallows. I'm sure there's another bag out there where it's all marshmallows and a few of these little red balls. Someone's not doing their job, okay?
Well, one thing I will say, though, you're pointing out the discrepancy between when the film is being released and when the serial is coming out. And I'm starting to see this as the issue because Warner Brothers was having the same problem with Wonder Woman toys hitting the market long before the movie was being released. And why is that? Because they keep moving these dates, and these toy companies and these cereal companies are going, look, we've got this product. You gave us the go-ahead. We can't hold them in a warehouse anymore. And that's especially true with something like a cereal that has a limited shelf life. They're like, look, we're sending these to market. I don't care when you put this movie out.
So there are interesting things on the box. I see Muncher on the back.
That also might be why we just recently got this mini Stay Puft bit. Because they figured we don't want the cereal to be the revelation of it. So let's, build a little synergy there. They're releasing the cereal. We'll put out this little snippet.
Might as well. Because it's going to get spoiled either way.
But I'll tell you, fans have been clamoring for this stuff. They're going, the longer you push this out, the more we want something to keep the interest going.
There are some other spoilers on here too. Okay, maybe this is a throwback spoiler, or maybe it's in the new movie. I see a little outline of Zool. The dog.
Yeah.
Okay, I see him on the back. So I don't know if he's coming back or not. It looks like an angry Stay Puft is on the back too, in addition to the mini puffs who look cute, actually. All right, but I wanted to say the reason I had you have the pen and paper ready, right?
I do.
Okay. So you're gonna be I'm gonna have you take a quiz.
Okay.
It's on the back of the box.
Okay.
Do you have what it takes to be a Ghostbuster? Strap on your proton pack, fire up Ecto 1, and get ready to see if you have what it takes to join the ranks of the Ghostbusters team of paranormal investigators.
Yep.
Okay. Question number 1.
Okay.
Do you believe ghosts are real? A, no. At least I really, really hope they aren't. B, yes, my great uncle twice removed saw one once. C, heck yeah, There is one living under my bed right now.
Okay. I thought for sure you were going to say, see, I'll believe anything you pay me to believe.
Okay, so yeah, funny. That'd be a good question. Okay, A is 1 point, B is 2 points, C is 3 points. Write your corresponding number, please. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay, next question.
Yep.
You find a secret hidden chest of old ghost hunting equipment. What do you do? A, play it safe and call the authorities.
Oh, jeez.
B, cautiously test the equipment to see if it works. C, strap on a proton pack and start hunting ghosts. Remember, A is 1 point, B 2, C 3. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, next question. You are exploring your basement and you step in a puddle of ectoplasm. Do you A, run away screaming, B, get mad about ruining your shoes, C, say, here, ghosty, ghosty, come out wherever you are? Remember, A1, B2, C3.
Is there a D?
There's no D's on here.
Yeah, no, I need a sample.
No.
A collection dish.
No, nothing like that. We got 3 more. Come on. We don't have all night. We got other important news to get to.
This is much more fun than what
I know it. Of course it is. That's why we're doing it first. Anyway. Yeah. What equipment do Ghostbusters use to detect psychokinetic energy? A, psychokinetic energy sounds too scary. I don't want to detect it. B, PB and J meter. C, PKE meter. Okay. Remember, A's 1, B's 2.
I could have said this without the choices.
I know. Well, no. Think of the kids, man. Come on, they're kids. They don't know that much about
kids. Should not be strapping an untested particle accelerator.
You know what? The kids can do what they want to do these days.
I guess
they've lost a year. Let's cut them some slack. Anyway, okay. Anyway, what would you? Okay, question number 5. What would you do if you found a ghost in your closet? A, sell the house and move to another country. B, try to tackle it. C, grab a ghost trap and catch the non-corporeal entity. All right. Do I got to repeat the point numbers to you?
No, I got it.
Did you figure it out?
I kind of see how this is going. Yeah.
Okay. And final question. You suspect your friend is possessed by an ancient spirit. How can you tell for sure? A, ask them politely if they are an evil spirit. B, throw garlic at them. C, research psychokinetic biological and habitation in Tobin's Spirit Guide. Okay. Did you get?
Yeah, I had 3s all down the line. I think that goes without saying.
Well, for the love of Pete. Okay, so you are 18.
Yep.
You are the Ghostbusters' new fearless leader.
Yep. Yeah. Always refer to Tobin's Spirit Guide. Absolutely. Although, the previous one, yes, you wanna trap a ghost in a ghost trap, but do keep in mind that the Ghostbusters in the very first movie, the first thing they did, they tried to catch the librarian ghost by tackling her.
That's true, and that didn't work well.
Which get her. That was your plan.
I know I brought this before, but I love the old Ghostbusters game on the Sega Genesis. When you're playing the level, you can actually shoot and destroy the ghost with your gun. When you get to the boss, though, the boss of the level, then you are able to trap it. Okay, then an entity pops out of it when you beat it. Then you got to lay down the trap and catch it. So, because obviously you're laying down a trap to catch each and every ghost, that would be a very long game, But it's anyway. Anyway, Ghostbusters cereal. It's on your store shelves now if you are so interested. I like the fact they still make theme cereals, so hopefully this keeps up. I'm waiting for my Star Trek Picard theme cereal.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, you can wait a long time because nobody is marketing anything for Star Trek.
It tastes like unbearable sadness. Okay.
You're absolutely right about that. But as long as we're talking Ghostbusters.
Yeah. What is that? Do it again.
I am powering up my my proton pack.
Whoa! That sounds like the real thing.
Ah! It is the real thing.
Okay.
This literally is the Neutrona one from Hasbro. Nanette and I both each have one.
That's neat.
I told you we are getting our costumes ready for the release of Ghostbusters 3.
I'm waiting.
Yep.
I'm waiting. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Okay.
Yep.
Just make a fun movie, please, please. This brings us to our first topic of the night.
Yep.
Well, hello, you there? Okay.
Yeah.
I minimize. I get uncomfortable when I do that because I'm like, it's disappeared from my screen. Okay. Indiana Jones, Phoebe Waller-Bridge lands female lead in next installment opposite Harrison Ford. Okay, that was the big news last week. We almost thought about talking about it, but we had too much other stuff to talk about. But last week's news, but we have more casting announcements to talk about tonight as well. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, what do we think?
I'm really having a hard time feeling anything about this. Indiana Jones 5, okay? First, after Indiana Jones 4. Really? And Indiana Jones 5 without Steven Spielberg. Indiana Jones 5 without Steven Spielberg with Kathleen Kennedy. Why are we even caring about this movie, let alone who they're casting in this movie? What do we know about this Phoebe Waller-Bridge?
She's on the hit comedy Fleabag, which I have watched a couple episodes of. It's a little rough if you're not in for that kind of comedy. I didn't hate it as much because I realized she's awful person on it, but everyone else on the show annoys me too, so I don't feel as bad about it. So I don't know. I don't know though. And she was also the annoying droid in Star Wars: A Solo Story, which I just was thinking about it. Will that always be canon, even if they got rid of the sequel trilogy? Will Solo always be canon? Because I have some problems with Solo. Primarily is, what's your last name, son? You're coming into Empire territory. I don't have a people or whatever. Okay, we'll call you Han Solo. No, please don't.
Yeah,
don't do that, please.
Because the EU books were so much better. Han Solo at Star's End, Han Solo's Revenge, all that kind of stuff. And there's even been talk about taking the Lando books and those were going to be the basis for the Lando. I don't know if they were going to do a series or a movie based on Lando. If they did that, it sounds like it would be a good thing, but no, I don't know. And honestly, Harrison Ford is a whole different animal from Mark Hamill, right? Mark Hamill actually cared about his character. He cared about the projects he was working on. He cared about the fans. I feel like Harrison Ford's like, just give me a paycheck. I don't care.
Yeah, Harrison Ford wants the money. They were talking about him when Blade Runner 2049 was coming out, and he was like, "What made you want to come back to the role?" I was like, "Well, show me the paycheck." He said in some interview. I'm like, "Really? That's kind of obnoxious. You just saying that. I mean, at least he didn't. He was actually good in the movie and did detract from it, but that was kind of obnoxious. Okay, that's why you came back to do it. I mean,
well, he's not going to detract from it because for crying out loud, he doesn't care. People ask him questions, and he'll be like,
"I meant his performance, and it was his performance, and it was fine." Okay, you understand?
That's why when people come back and say Harrison Ford said that, he was a replicant or he wasn't a replicant or whatever, and it's like Harrison Ford doesn't know crap. He doesn't even know what a replicant is, even though he was in the movie and he memorized the lines.
I love 2049. How 2049 will not answer that question.
That is the way to do it, right?
The guy was trying to figure out, are you really a replicant or not? Like he was actually trying to probe, or like he was actually. I think the guy, when he was interrogating, was trying to figure that out, and it's like he threw both theories at him, and he just Harrison Ford wasn't talking, or Decker wasn't talking. But anyway, go ahead though.
And after a certain point, you now have a situation where you literally have a huge fan base, and they are split down the middle on whether or not they believe Decker was a replicant or not.
Okay, what do you believe?
I believe he wasn't.
Was not, yes,
Yeah,
same
because
as me.
but then again, I'm also a fan of the original. Do androids dream of electric sheep?
I used to when I first saw the original director's cut, but now I've come around to said no, he's not. Of course, then people are going to bring up the unicorn dream anyway.
Well, that's the other thing too. You
Left-
can moan and complain about all the different versions of it that are out there. I look at what was on the screen when you originally released it. I don't care what you put into the DVD. Those are interesting and those are fun and those are nice. But the way the movie released originally, that's what went out there.
To be fair, even in that version, it's a question, not a confirmation.
True.
You understand?
True.
It's not. He's wondering. Okay, like he's anyway. I don't know. We're talking about Blade Runner. We need to be talking about Indiana Jones. I'm going to read from the article.
I think it's relevant because we're also talking about Harrison Ford. So I'm saying,
oh my word,
Harrison Ford wants to be done with this thing. I think. Well, I'm not going to say what I think because I know you're leading up to what you think and what your predictions are.
Oh, you want to give the predictions I gave on Friday?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, let me. Okay, but basically, they've confirmed Phoebe Waller-Bridge will be in this. She's of Fleabag fame. Again, I don't know how to feel about that casting. I'm mixed. I'm not. Anyway, also Mads Mikkelsen. He's the other one that was the big announcement. You know him.
Yep.
Prediction number one: Mads Mikkelsen will be the villain.
Sure.
Because he's played Hannibal Lecter.
Yep.
That was actually good casting. I don't know how all of you thought about the Hannibal show, but I thought he was a good Hannibal Lecter because they found someone who wasn't trying to be an Anthony Hopkins imitator. Okay. Right. It's kind of a different take on the character, so I liked him in that. And he's a creepy. He can be a creepy actor. But yeah, my big thing was that he is going to be the villain, and that the villain is going to be something that rhymes with Yahtzee. Okay. And I know it's going to be taking place in the 1960s. It'll be some kind of underground group that survived in Germany. You know, maybe they're trying to clone the Fuhrer. You know, or whatever they're trying to. I don't know.
Saved Hitler's brain.
It's in a jar somewhere. That's what it's going to be because. That's the safe villain. And to be fair, it could work. Now, I just looked up who the director was of this, and it's the same man that directed Ford versus Ferrari, which was my favorite movie of 2019. Great movie. And I actually, normally you'd say this is the director. It's like, okay, I would actually, good choice. Because there was a lot of action in that movie, even though it was about race driving, good use of period stuff. I think he could be good. But I don't know how much Lucasfilm is going to interfere with this thing. Okay, there's no reason this movie has to be bad. Okay, but I don't have faith.
Well, I already gave you two really big reasons.
What?
No Spielberg, and yes, Kathleen Kennedy.
No Spielberg, but the director they have is good. He's not just some. It's not like a Mark Webb or anything. It's not one of these. He's an actual good director. Okay, I've seen. Yeah. He directed Copland. Actually, remember Copland with Stallone?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he did that movie. So he's a seasoned Hollywood director. He's not some new guy. Doesn't mean it's going to be good, but at least they couldn't get Spielberg. It's not a bad director they picked. Again, though, Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm.
Exactly.
I don't know what's going to happen. Like he could make a perfectly good cut of the movie, and then because we know there were different cuts of Rogue One and Solo that the higher ups didn't like, and for all I know, those were really good movies. I don't know.
More and more, we are realizing that so many of the mistakes in films that are coming out, and this is why we're seeing all of these release the this cut, release the that cut, the director's cut, the so forth. It is these horrible decisions, not by the directors, but by the studios. Too much studio involvement. And it's killing these things. And this is not something that's new. There's lots of examples of directors doing a great job and the movies being destroyed by the David Lynch Dune, I think is a perfect example, you know? The other night I was even talking about Superman, you know, the whole Donner and Mankiewicz thing, you know, because the Sulkites got way too involved, you know?
Oh yeah, well that was a problem, especially later on with some of the decisions they made when they cut Donner loose. Remember?
Yeah, and so everybody who's talking about the Snyder cut now, just remember, it actually started with release the Donner cut.
I remember My issue, I have a lot. I had a lot of problems with the choice of Richard Lester as the director because the library got in this copy of a movie called Robin and Marion, and I'm a big Robin Hood fan, and I always make a comment that Hollywood doesn't know how to do Robin Hood, doesn't know how to do Superman. Okay, I'm watching this Robin and Marion, and I really can't get that far in it. It's got Sean Connery as like an older Robin Hood. I don't want to see Robin Hood and the Merry Men as old middle-aged men. I'm sorry, it's depressing me. And then it's also weirdly comical in some portions. And then I find out, oh, it's Richard Lester, the guy who directed Superman 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
And
That's what's wrong with this. Okay.
Talk about the how would you put it? The dichotomy there, right? What was everybody who's a fan of the Donner Superman knows this. What was his one word motto for what he was doing? Verisimilitude. He said, we got to take this seriously. This is not going to be an Adam West Batman. We're going to tell this story as a dramatic story, a real person. You know, the whole you'll believe a man can fly. That's because they took it seriously, right? By the time you get to the Lester version, you got, you know, cellophane S's and, you know, Planet Houston and, you know, all kinds of ridiculousness. And it's like
stupid stuff, stupid, dumb humor. Oh, don't even get me started on Superman 3. And there are parts of Superman 3 I actually do love, and then there are other parts that
you want a good story for Superman 3, pick up the DC Comics adaptation of it. Because it's basically the same story, except it takes out all the stupid Richard Pryor jokes. And it even makes the Richard Pryor character look much more intelligent.
Yeah, because he was supposed to be intelligent in the movie. Yep. He's like a computer genius.
He's a computer genius, right?
And I like the idea of having a computer as a villain. That was interesting to me, but what was I going to say though? But Rosefire was bringing up that Hollywood, the only kinds of villains I come up with like are the Yahtzees and the racists these days. I would argue in the old days, well, recently too, they really would go every other movie Eastern Europeans as the villains. Have you ever noticed that? Yeah. And it was fine, except for I almost wonder after a while it was like punishment for losing the Cold War, and it's like it's getting cliched at this point, you know. But I'm gonna say this: I don't think Mads will be playing a Soviet because they could go with the Soviets again, but no, they're not going to do that again. Partly because that was a thing that was easy to do in the 2000s, and we're living in different political times now, and I just don't think they're going to do Soviets again. I think it's going to be, or if they want to be original, it could just be something outside of the whole sphere. But we'll probably, I don't know.
I honestly don't know. I think if you're going into the 60s, the 60s really should be the Soviets, but almost makes me wish that this was an 80s kind of thing with an even older Indy, you know, and they could make the bad guy be some sort of, you know, Trumpian businessman type of character.
Well, like a yuppie, basically.
Yeah, you know.
Anyway, but what did I want to mention though? The whole thing though about the I had predictions, right? And I was predicting certain things. I was going to say that there was going to be this weird sexual tension between the Phoebe Waller-Bridge character and Mads Mikkelsen, because that's like the thing now. They want to do the whole Raylo thing in Indiana Jones. God. So it would be either they had a past relationship or there'd be a potential for a future one because he doesn't technically get killed. I don't know.
I don't know why the feminists are allowing that, because I thought the whole idea was that strong women were supposed to be motivated by something other than a romantic purpose.
Also, don't fall in love with a psychopath. Okay, I don't know why that's like a thing. Okay, anyway. So that'll be
because if you're the type that's
happy.
If you're going to fall in love with the psychopath, doesn't that kind of take away your agency? That kind of makes you the Stockholm syndrome fodder.
Yeah. Maybe they'll bring. I told you they're going to bring the Ark of the Covenant back too. What do you think?
God, you're probably right. When I think about how Force Awakens was really just a rehash of every single beat of Star Wars, you're probably freaking right, because they're completely they're completely incapable of coming up with a new idea, right? And with Spielberg out of the picture, they got nobody.
Yeah, they'll open up the Ark of the Covenant and Alanis Morissette will pop out.
Oh God.
Okay, I'm just messing. Anyway, no, I don't know. Maybe he'll be a government scientist trying to work. Remember, they were going to have top people testing. Well, why don't we do a movie about that? No, don't do a movie. I don't know what they're going to do. I keep thinking, because what other big relics are there that it's going to be some kind of relic hunting movie? Or maybe they're going to try to reassemble, like get the Holy Grail, get the Chakra Stones.
Look,
get the Ark of the Covenant, and get the Crystal Skull, and it will assemble all four, and it'll.
The intelligent story. The intelligent story would be for them to do a film version of Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, but that's not going to happen.
Well, they could rip that off though and make it worse, right? I don't know what they're going to do. Like I say, the director they hired, he actually does, from his filmography, he looks like he could be capable of making a good Indiana Jones movie. I just don't trust Lucasfilm at this point. But this goes back to what we were discussing, the big reveal this week, that perhaps maybe if somebody leaves Lucasfilm.
Yeah. So
should we mention this at all? Okay.
Yeah. So in my stream on Friday, and literally every outlet right now is talking about this, huge rumor from multiple sources that Kathleen Kennedy is done. She is not getting renewed. She has no power any longer in Star Wars. And that's why all of the social media for Lucasfilm has gone quiet for the past couple weeks. But it may also be an indication of why there is the renewed talk about Indiana Jones 5. Indiana Jones 5 has been in production hell for a very long time. Why now is it suddenly moving forward? Rumor has it that it is part of the negotiations for Kathleen Kennedy's, in quotes, retirement. So in other words, to put a finer point on it, this is the cost of getting Star Wars fixed, is sacrificing Indiana Jones.
I don't want to sacrifice Indiana Jones to get Star Wars fixed. For starters, Indiana Jones is not beyond repair as far as I'm concerned. I don't know about Star Wars. They have to work really hard to get that back if they can do it at all. Indiana Jones, I mean, Crystal Skull, yeah, kind of dumb. It doesn't ruin the character. It doesn't ruin the other movies, okay? In fact, I gave him a family, so that was kind of neat. And
from the point of view of the finances of it, Indiana Jones is already dead in the water. It's not doing anything.
I told you my idea that they're going to kill off Marion Crane and his son in the sequel. They'll die in a drunk driving accident. Drunken frat boys will crash into them. No reason for it, really. Okay, that was what I was saying on your stream Friday. What do you think?
I don't have any strong feelings on it.
They don't want to recast. They want to bring them back, and okay, we'll just have them die off screen.
In all fairness, I mean, anybody that saw, Crystal Skull doesn't give a flying fig about Shia LaBeouf's character. So,
but you could, if Shia LaBeouf wasn't playing them and they go 20, 30 years in the future and he's like Indiana Jones's actual age, like when he was being an archaeologist, and you recast him with a different actor, I think people could care. Okay.
No, you're right. They could do that.
Don't cast Shia LaBeouf again, okay? But they won't cast him anyway because he was bad-mouthing the movie, so he got into trouble with Spielberg over that. But
yeah, I get that. So I totally get them not casting him, and nobody cares enough to want to keep him. So, but ultimately, I mean, the Indiana Jones thing, we talked about this some time ago. The way to go with it is to go back and do younger Indiana Jones stories with a recast actor, and go back and do some of the other stories that would have taken place in between, and revitalize and get new action figures out there and really make your money. That's what your franchise is for making money and marketing.
I don't know who you would even cast as Indiana Jones now, though.
Who cares? Some young guy that you don't
maybe
even need to know.
Maybe an unknown, because I don't know anyone known right now.
Why
don't say
spend
Chris,
the money?
Don't say Chris Pratt, okay?
Why spend the money for a Tom Holland when you can cast pay scale to Joe Nobody, who ends up being very talented and becoming a star from the role, right? Who was Harrison Ford before he played Han Solo in Indiana Jones?
He was the guy in American Graffiti.
He was the guy from American Graffiti. That even fans of his forget that was a role of his. He was a carpenter making sets for movies, is what he was.
Oh, Wolf 10 says, I always hated it when beloved characters get run over by cars. Yeah, I'm this came from I don't know if any of you remember that movie, what was it called? Gravity, with Sandra Bullock and George Clooney. And like she mentions in the side that her daughter had some accident on a playground and died. Okay. And I'm thinking that was it sounds like the stupidest way to have died. Okay. Like, I don't know if she slipped and fell on a rock and died. Okay. Like and it was an aside, and I'm thinking, well, that's what you have to do to the Indiana Jones family. You have to have them die in some stupid, pointless way to make it more real. And
what they really need to do is they need to bring back Short Round, then have the actor's Twitter closed up and say that he was taking flack from toxic fans, and then use that as an excuse for why it tanks over in China.
I'm sorry, what was that last part? Wait a minute.
And then use all of that as an excuse for why the movie tanks in China.
Oh, of course, yes. Oh, look at this Horizon Talker. I'll play Indiana Jones. I'll have to become half Asian, but I'm down to buckle swashes. Put me in, coach. Actually, I am going to say this. Not that we should even be caring about the Chinese market, but Short Round was Chinese, right? They could have him in the movie growing up as like a partner or something. That never mind.
Yeah,
that might be interesting.
But the idea that that's going to make a difference to the Chinese,
it's not going to make a difference.
It's not. They do not care. Look at what happened with Mulan. Look at what happened with every other movie that we've made, that we bent over backwards to make it for the Chinese market, and then it tanks over there because they had another movie that they made that everyone went to see. Keep in mind, China's government is not the same kind of government we have here, okay? If a Chinese company, which is bankrolled by the Chinese government, if that movie is released, you will go see that movie. You will enjoy it, and you will talk about it on the socialist media, or you will lose your social credit points.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
It is a rigged game. This is why I keep slapping my forehead going, why is Disney even trying to market in China?
Oh, by the way, Wolfton makes a comment. The trope is stupid because it's just people don't know how to drive, which is true. It also puts the driver in a bad light. I kept saying that Indy has to do something bad. What if he's the one responsible for his family's death? What if he, instead of like it being a drunk driver, what if he was like driving to beat like Belloc Jr. To the to whatever art, and they're driving and like, slow down, Indy, and then he got into a crash and his son and his wife died. It's his fault because he couldn't let the artifact go that he was hunting. What do you think?
That is way dark.
I'm trying to think what is dark and stupid.
I want to see them do that, because I guarantee you that movie will tank if they do some crap like that. Can you bring up Brian Gilmartin's comment?
What is he saying here? Running?
Yeah.
The song?
Yeah. So I am not sure, Brian Gilmartin. I suspect that this is to the tune of Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown. Running for your life from Shia LaBeouf. He's brandishing a knife. It's Shia LaBeouf. Oh,
I love Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown. That'll be a better Indiana Jones movie than Part 5. I'm sorry. Because, there's adventure elements in Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown, right? Okay.
Oh, absolutely there are. Oh, yeah, that's a good movie.
My favorite part in that movie is Snoopy's in a cabin all by himself because he gets separated from the group. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a knock at the door. He opens up the door and there's a bear, and he goes, "Ah!"
Yes.
Slams the door, and the bear screams,
And the
runs
bear
in the
goes,
other
"Ah!" and goes running. Yeah.
Oh, that was funny. I'm sorry. I love Charlie Brown. Okay, anyway.
That's some classic stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so we excited for Indiana Jones 5. You think
Absolutely
it could be good?
not at all.
You think basically that those turkey leftovers are from 2 months ago, and it's not,
Look, anybody, even a fan of Indiana Jones who
Which
thinks
I
this is
am.
going to be a decent film without Steven Spielberg, screw it. Because I'll tell you, when the whole Twin Peaks on Showtime thing was happening, and it was looking like David Lynch wasn't going to be involved, there was this huge push, a unified push by the fans and by all the actors in it. No David, no Twin Peaks. And there was speculation that it was really just David Lynch maybe pushing for money or something like that. And we said, if that's the case, then give it to him or don't do it at all. And Showtime, capitulated and worked out whatever it was behind the scenes they needed to do to make it work. And it was awesome, and the fans loved it. And it did really, really well. And Showtime was so excited. They actually want there to be more. And I'm going off on a tangent here.
That was the big highlight for me that summer.
Yeah.
Which means other things that summer weren't going well. I don't know if that was a personal life thing or if that was something to do with what was out in movies that summer. Oh, was that? Yeah, that might have been a bad. No, that was a bad summer movie season. I remember. I don't know what came out that summer. I was not liking what came out. And I was like, the big highlight is Twin Peaks. I got to watch that each week again, so that was fun.
Yeah.
Disney Parks employees can now have gender-inclusive hairstyles and tattoos. I just, no transition. Just going straight into it.
Well, look.
I'm going to read from the article.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, let me read.
Yeah.
Then you can make your comments, because maybe you need to be a little more open-minded and just not rush judgments.
Geez.
Okay. Disney is committed to making its theme parks the happiest places on Earth for both guests and its employees, according to a new initiative aimed at amplifying diversity, inclusion, and individual expression among its workforce. Per a blog post published Tuesday by Disney Parks Chairman Josh D'Amaro, the company spent roughly 16 months listening to a small focus groups of existing employees, also known as cast members, working with them to develop an approach to making inclusivity a core tenet of its daily operations. In addition to a sustained focus on diversifying its attractions and park experience, including a planned revamps of Splash Mountain and Jungle Cruise rides to remove racially insensitive portrayals, Disney will ease long-standing restrictions on employee presentation. Our new approach provides greater flexibility with respect to forms of personal expression surrounding gender-inclusive hairstyles, jewelry, nail styles, and costume choices, and allowing appropriate visible tattoos, D'Amaro wrote. We're updating them not only to remain relevant today in today's workplace, but also to enable our cast members to better express their cultures and individuality at work. He added that the company believes relaxed guidelines for presentation will improve operations due to increased comfort among cast members, leading to richer, more personal, and more engaging experiences for guests as a result. Disney is so committed to these plans, Amaro continued, that it is updating its 65-year-old cast member tradition of upholding the 4 keys of operation, in which principles of safety, show, courtesy, and efficiency dictate cast member actions, to include a 5th key representing inclusion. Elsewhere, as part of its expanded diversity plans, Disney announced the addition of a new soul attraction at Epcot, which will highlight the varied history of jazz music, particularly tunes crafted by Black artists and shaping American culture, on top of ongoing work with its Disney Dreamers Academy program that provided workplace mentorship to dozens of young participants each year through career guidance workshops. Okay, the world is changing. We will change with it, and will continue to be a source of joy and inspiration for all the world. We'll never stop working to make sure that Disney is a welcoming place for Amaro concluded in his post. What do you think?
I just realized I'm not on camera, so you can't see me rolling my eyes and pantomiming jerking off.
What? Actually, the soul attraction sounds interesting. The jazz thing, that don't sound bad.
Yeah,
I
can dig that.
But that's about it. Okay.
No, okay. So, Birdman asks, what gender inclusive hairstyles and tattoos? I'll tell you exactly. As soon as I saw this article, here's how I translated it in my head. Since Disney will only hire the most hippy-dippy social justice warriors, they have to change their dress code to include, faded, shaved sides of their heads and purple, pink, and blue hair. If they don't, they won't have any employees. That's what this is all about.
Funny rings in the noses too, that sort of thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, next Disney will tell everybody to come work naked and call it inclusion. Only on Naked Day, Leia plus size. Come on. That's one day a month. I'm kidding.
Let's give credit where credit is due. If they're being forced to dress up, I'm stealing Skipper Kenner's joke. If they're being forced to dress up like Donald Duck, they're coming without pants. That's just the way it is. No, but this is a bunch of crap because Disney is pushing this inclusivity stuff right on the tail of firing Gina Carano and the whole Forbes article. Nobody's buying this crap anymore. They look at this and they go, "You're full of crap." Inclusivity, bull crap. What you call inclusivity is if you don't follow our agendas, which are these radical left-wing gender fluid BS crap, then we don't want you. We'll be getting to that when we get to the TV thing in a little bit about ABC owned Disney and how inclusive they frickin' are.
I have a question. Is anyone thinking about the guests through all this? Okay, you're here to make the guests happy at these parks, right? Okay. I mean, you're being
toxic fans? No, they're not. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about the people that pay the bills. They don't care about the people. They care about looking good and virtue signaling. That's what they care about.
Okay. But I'm just saying, you're a cast member. You're being cast kind of in a role. I thought that was the whole point. And it's not about you. It's about, being this cast member to make the guests' lives pleasant when they come to your park, right?
Yeah. Daniel Heron makes a great point. Can I work there with a Donald Trump tattoo on my arm? Try it. See how inclusive they really freaking are.
Oh, you know what? They could have a tattoo of a certain world leader as Pooh Bear.
Oh yeah.
That would get you into trouble, probably, right? I bet you they wouldn't allow that tattoo. Right?
Oh, absolutely not.
I don't know. So everyone is going to shave their head bald. Then I don't know.
Yeah,
inclusive hair.
What happens if I show up there wearing a MAGA hat? Am I even going to be able to get into the damn park? How inclusive are you?
Oh my goodness!
And I'll tell you, if I lived anywhere near those parks, I would go wearing a MAGA hat and have Nanette film it so that I can put it up on all the socialist media and say, this is how inclusive you are. You won't let me in wearing a MAGA hat, but you let all the blue-haired weirdos in. No problem.
All employees are cast members, even the street sweepers. That reminds me of that line from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, right? You may be a king or a little street sweeper, but someday you'll dance with the Reaper. Remember?
Absolutely.
I like that. Okay, Bill and Ted. I used to love the Bill and Ted show at Universal Halloween Horror Nights. I don't know if you've ever seen highlights of that. Every year they would do a Bill and Ted show, and it would be like highlights of all the movies that came out that year. Huh. And like they would be running into different movie characters. It was funny. I think Gandalf was there one year, and they were trying to assemble a team, and like Gandalf was jumping up and down, pick me, pick me. You know?
That's kind of ingenious.
Like it was.
I like that.
But it would also you'd have like the characters from movies, and then you'd have them running into Bill and Ted. Do you understand? So it was like them running into all these film characters. It was kind of funny.
That's funny.
But that was always a fun show. I think they had. Oh no, they had. Remember the year that remember the time Britney Spears shaved her head?
Yep.
She was there as like one of the villains. I think she was working with Dr. Evil. I think, you know, from Austin Powers.
That is so meta because her whole breakdown thing. A lot of people have done comments on this in retrospect.
Yeah,
it's basically because being a Disney child star drove her freaking nuts. Look at what's happened to all the Disney child stars, you know, and then start, you know, looking at the things that Disney is talking about, we gotta be inclusive and we gotta, this and that. Yeah. How are you really treating people behind the scenes though? How are you treating kids? How are you letting the adults treat kids? Just saying. Just asking.
Oh yeah. These are parks geared toward families. We need to keep that in mind, but of course, maybe less so these days. Maybe families are not the primary target for these parks at this point. I don't know. They have gotten very expensive. When you start
looking at people like Leslie Headland, and you start looking at the things that a lot of people are saying that Kathleen Kennedy knows, I'm just saying, there's people talking about stuff out there. Do you really want people looking terribly close at you, Disney? That's all I'm saying.
So, are you going to any of the Disney parks anytime soon?
F no.
Okay, well,
they are not getting my money. No way.
All right, so
not so they can continue supporting camps in China where people go to think really hard. Okay, not after having fired Gina Carano. So as long as they keep supporting and standing with black supremacists. No, I won't be.
Oh man, what if they have like free? Free
is still too expensive.
No, I meant that if someone has a tattoo like "Free Democratic Hong Kong," probably not. Okay. Okay. Oh, actually, though, we have this is an article. These kind of go together, but we're going to be. I'll read from the first one first.
Mm-hmm.
This is about author Nick Cole.
Yep.
And
tell us
Nick
how
Cole
inclusive Disney is.
Well, now to be fair, there was an addendum to that article. And he said, I wasn't specifically saying it was Disney. I was just responding to news that Disney did. So he says, I'm not naming the studio. So maybe it is Disney. Maybe it's somewhere else. To be fair, these days it could be any one of them. But author Nick Cole claims major Hollywood studio told him they wouldn't produce content for white Christian trash. Yikes.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know. I think that was at some meeting he had.
So this was a little piece that we were talking about it back in the green room. And I said, talk about being tone deaf, right? You know, they honestly believe that these people, these Hollywood elites that are cloistered away in their little bubbles, okay, that only hear from their friends that are equally cut off from society and the people on socialist media that they follow. Keep in mind, socialist media won't allow, people that have wrong think on their platform at all. So they only get one side, and they think the whole world thinks the same way they do. So they make comments like this, and they forget that
it's a very big country.
It's a big country. There's still a lot of white people, and white people still have a lot of money, and they're the ones that pay the bills.
There are a lot of Christians of many different
and there are Christians
races and
that
ethnicities.
Aren't white, and there's a lot of non-white Christians going, wait, what's wrong with Christians?
Yeah. Listen, he made a point. He's like, well, I didn't specifically mean Disney, but this is what it was referring to. Okay. He tweeted, but I'm not. Okay. He said it's not, but this is in reaction to like an ABC.
That pretty much smacks of somebody at the mouse threatened to break his legs and he's backtracking.
It could have been any one of the big ones. Of course, these days it could have been. I mean, I could see Warner Brothers maybe saying something like that nowadays, but I don't know. Author Nick Cole of the Galaxy Edge series recently claimed that a studio that may or may not be Disney wouldn't produce content for white Christian trash. Cole's comments came in response to recent statements made by Walt Disney Television's chairman of entertainment, Dana Walden. During the panel, Walden referenced ABC's new affirmative action policies that the company rolled out back in September 2020. The guidelines included 4 different affirmative action areas. Those areas are on-screen representation, creative leadership, below the line, and industry access and career development. To get an idea of the policy, the on-screen representation requires at least 3 of the following standards to be met. 50% or more of regular and recurring written characters from underrepresented groups. Okay, so I take it this could be racial, it could be disabled, whatever. I guess I don't know. Okay, 50 or more of regular or recurring actors come from underrepresented groups. Okay, so you could have a disabled person playing a non-disabled person, and then maybe having never mind. This is confusing.
Well, that's just it. Okay. How do you define these things? Because if it's 50% or more, by the time you're done that year, white people will be underrepresented.
So someone could be playing a blind person in the show, but not really be blind. But then that would fill in one of the check marks. No,
because then you're going to have people coming out saying, no, you got to give that role to an actual blind person.
Okay.
I mean, look what they're doing to Idris Elba. He's not black enough.
Well, we're going to get to that later. Let's save that for later. You're getting a little. I'm telling you, Troy. I'm just going to read you the facts. Okay.
Maybe I should keep drinking on Sundays. Just to calm me down a little bit.
You need some happy time tea, I think, right? Okay. I don't know if that's what it's called. Okay. Secondary characters, meaningful inclusion of underrepresented group as a secondary or more minor on-screen individuals, including background characters. Okay. Series premise, meaningful integration of underrepresented groups in overall themes and narratives. Okay. Episodic storytelling, ongoing meaningful integration of underrepresented groups in episodic themes and narratives. Wow, that's a lot of check marks you got to when you're the writer of a show, right? Okay.
Skipper Kenner asks if that includes speaking extras and extras, but I mean, we're already getting so far into the weeds here.
I have no idea what this means. I have no idea if this stuff is actually getting implemented. I'm thinking it probably is, or if this is just to say, hey, we had the guy working at the coffee bar. He was from one of these underrepresented groups, but maybe not. Maybe they actually are going full on with this. Okay. I don't know. Okay.
This is the same industry that's freaking going broke, and
Yeah.
Why are people going broke? Well, it rhymes with go broke. Okay. It doesn't take a genius. And if you're going to just keep doubling down on this losing strategy, good luck to you.
Well, we have another, this kind of carries into another article that's been making the rounds. I think they were talking a little bit about it on, I think that Star Wars girl was on the stream last night, and with Yellow Flash and them. But they were talking a little bit about this. But this is Dana Walden says ABC passed on pilots for not being inclusive enough. Now, this one I found very curious as someone who, I'm going to be blunt with you. I watch a lot of television. I've watched a lot of television over the years. I can say probably most of it was a waste of time.
Remind me real quick, who owns ABC?
Disney.
Oh, right. Okay, go ahead.
Who owns the Fox channel?
Disney, exactly.
I think they do, yeah, because they bought 20. They didn't get the news stations. Going back to the
previous article, I'm just saying, just
why do we even have two networks at this point if they're all both owned by the same company? Isn't that a little disturbing? Am I wrong here?
It won't be when Disney goes bankrupt.
Oh.
It'll all get recycled out to the smaller studios anyway. So. Let these things run its course.
So this continues on from the last article. During a panel that included Amazon Studios chief Jennifer Salke, Walden revealed that for the first time, the network received some incredibly well-written scripts that did not satisfy our standards in terms of inclusion. Last fall, ABC unveiled a set of inclusion standards as a path toward more diverse representation, both on screen and behind the screens network shows. Okay, we already discussed this. Okay. Walt Disney Television Chairman of Entertainment Dana Walden referenced the standards April 9th during a panel discussion put on by Chapman University in Glamour, and she revealed that the latest crop of pilots received by the network failed to make the grade. I will tell you, for the first time, we received some incredibly well-written scripts that did not satisfy our standards in terms of inclusion, and we passed on them. Walden explained to moderator Janice Min, now a contributing editor at Time and formerly co-president of The Hollywood Reporter. Walden cited an example of receiving a script centered on a white family with the assumption that the diversity would come with neighbors. Pass, she said. That's not going to get on the air anymore because that's not what our audience wants. That's not a reflection of our audience, and I feel good about the direction we're moving. Walden said they're about to announce at the top of next month a new BIPOC programming initiative at Hulu that's going to be run by Tara Duncan, the current president of Freeform. It is programming that is BIPOC storytellers for BIPOC story audiences, curated by executives of color, high-level leaders inside our organization. Amazon Studios head Jennifer Salke also sat on the panel and teased a forthcoming announcement, calling it a quote-unquote big inclusion policy and one that would have seemed too far out of reach even a few years ago. We have to step out there aggressively and make it happen, she said. I see huge changes. One major shift happening during greenlit conversations when the question inevitably comes up. Does this move forward our goals about empathizing underserved voices? What do you think? Does it amplify underserved voices? You know what?
No, it's just a Hollywood circle jerk. That's all it is.
I'm reminded of a French play. This just popped in my head called Tartuffe. Okay, and one of the things is that this monk shows up at this rich family's house, and they think he's this, and I don't even know if he's even a monk or not, but like he's a charlatan, right? Like he'll I think he crushes 2 grapes in his hands and he's like, oh, I have this stigmata, I'm a saint, and then he licks them off. Oh no, it's gone, like it's a miracle, Yeah. And this one guy is falling for it all hook, line, and sinker. And the one guy says, this guy's a fraud. He's like, oh, you just don't have any faith. And he's yelling at him, okay? Then later on, this guy, the skeptic, exposes him a fall. And then the guy says, oh man, and he was so angry and he's like, I'm not going to believe in any of this stuff anymore. And he says, why do you go to either extreme? Yeah. Okay. You're either God, I'm going to believe any two-bit charlatan that's saying they're a messenger of God, or I'm not going to believe in God at all. You can be somewhere in the middle, okay?
Exactly.
You can just have a clear head, and that's what this is feeling like. I remember years ago there was a television show I loved on Fox called Millennium. Do you remember Millennium?
I do. Mm-hmm.
It was a sister series of the X-Files, and they the third season, Frank Black got a partner, and it was a black woman. Okay, what they call a woman of color now. I don't like that term though, but and they said that back then that's not what the network was wanting. They were like wanting a long-legged blonde, but they went with this actress, and it they were thinking a risk. And I feel like that was wrong what they were doing then, because they were almost trying not to cast the person who should have been in the role. Okay. And now it's like we're doing the opposite. Okay, like there's now an overcorrection in the opposite direction. That's what this is feeling like.
So
to me.
I was talking with Netter today when we were out and about talking about casting in general, and I've made comments like this before. There's a lot more that goes into casting than what people usually assume. Okay, we did it just today when we were talking about who could play a young Indiana Jones, and my thought is not, who do I know who's famous that should be cast? My thought is just have auditions and see who shows up and see who comes off as a good young Indiana Jones and hire that person. Yep. And if they're an unknown, you hire them for scale because you can.
Yes.
And they don't have a lot of experience, put them with a coach and bend them to what you want for the role. That's the way you do it, but it's not that simple either, because this has always been the case. Hollywood has contracts with these people. Sometimes those contracts include, you know, a 3-movie deal, and that doesn't necessarily mean 3 movies in the same series. That just means you got to put me as the star in 3 movies.
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, we gotta put this guy, this Harrison Ford. We got to put him in another movie. Let's stick him into this sci-fi movie about robots, you know, and put that out there. And that's how you end up with Harrison Ford as Decker in, you know.
Yeah. But sometimes that works out well. Like you can tell when the studio is using their contract actor. Like with Disney, they'll have a character that was in the Marvel movie show up in a Star Wars movie because, of course, they're probably maybe they're contracted or something.
Sure, but for every one of those, you get Keanu Reeves in a Constantine movie.
There you go. Well, yeah.
You know, I won't even call it Constantine because that wasn't Constantine.
Yeah.
I'm picking up on Andre from Midnight's Edge on that one. Want to give credit where credit is due.
Do you want to poke from Skipper Kenner?
Oh, what did he say?
All right. Not sure how Disney is going out of business. Their stock is at an all-time high. They are well diversified in their portfolio of ownership and have strong commercial presence. This is my theory. I keep thinking at some point the chickens are going to come home to roost on this.
They already are.
It happened with Solo. Okay. That was a big bomb. Okay. That's why earlier, before the Gina Carano firing, and when I was trying to part of me thinks it's easier. Just maybe Disney can just self-correct.
You got to understand that Disney. This is always going to be the case. A company is never going to say, "Oh, we're in trouble." No, they're always going to put the positive spin. They're being politicians, and if you buy it, then you're just not engaging the brain. Okay, you're believing we're the best around because they say they're the best around. Okay, but if you really look at it, when you look at something like that Forbes article made everybody in the business world blink, especially Disney. Nothing like that has ever been shot at Disney before. Disney.
Well, I'm sure back in the 80s it was.
Well, maybe.
When they were struggling, but not since. Yeah.
But I've been paying attention to their stock, and their stock is not at an all-time high. It has been. You watch how it goes up and down, and it's been trending down since the Gina Carano firing. And you'll see it go up a little bit just before an investment call.
Right.
That's not a coincidence. That's people behind the board of Disney going, let's buy up some of the stock and make it look better so that we look better to the investors. They're pulling a Bernie Madoff light over there. They are.
No, I believe you.
And then when it comes to the numbers for Disney Plus, everybody behind the scenes that's getting some information out there is saying, you know, so many people are canceling, and that cancel Disney Plus hashtag is really hurting them. And they're saying, no, we have so many people signing up and our numbers are great. And what are they doing? They're pulling creative finance by pointing out all the free Disney Plus they're giving away with other packages.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
The same thing. I think that was one of the issues at HBO Max. People weren't even taking it for free. I know that was a thing.
And then you got the Mulan, and then you got the Star Wars stuff, and then you got all the bad press.
The Last Dragon one didn't do so hot.
And the Last Dragon and every other thing, they are losing money. So, okay, fine. Stocks are high. What does that mean? It means people like you believe that they're valuable and are paying for them. Okay? Just like diamonds. Diamonds aren't rare. You just believe they are, so you pay a lot of money for them.
Now, Skipper kind of brings up Disney is more than willing to self-correct and add coin to the bank. This is what we were hoping for before the whole Gina Carano thing. This is what I was hoping for. The 70s brought a slew of damaging live-action movies in the 70s, 80s. They adapted and got better.
I will agree with that,
but
I will say, yes, they are willing to self-correct, but they are very slow.
And they're not doing it now with television. They're doubling down. And the whole point I was bringing up with these articles is that I think it would have been terrible if they had not cast that woman on Millennium, because they were afraid to put a black woman as like a co-lead on the show. And I think it would. But now it's like they're doing the same thing. They're just being prejudiced in a different way now.
There's all sorts of short-sightedness in Hollywood, and there always has been. I think of the casting of Whoopi Goldberg in Star Trek: The Next Generation. Originally, the role called for a bombshell, attractive woman. And so when they decided to go with Whoopi Goldberg, because Whoopi Goldberg said, hey, I like Star Trek. I'd like to do something on it. And I think, I may be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it was Patrick Stewart who said, hey, we got that role of Guinan, let's put her in for it. You know?
Hey.
And I guess a lot of people were like, no, it needs to be, this is what we had planned for it. Why? And then they put her in the role, and she was amazing.
Yes.
There is nobody, after seeing her in the first episode she was in, that had anything negative to say about her. You know?
Skipper kind of brings up, though, once upon a time they weren't afraid to build a character around the actor like Jill Gerard from the Buck Rogers, because he was originally going to be passed up as being too old for Buck Rogers, but did so well that they changed for him.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, and who knew who Gil Gerard was back then, you know? But who knows why they I wouldn't even begin to wonder why they cast him the way they did. But yeah, it worked out, and I don't think anybody who loved that show would look back and say it was a mistake.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the hypocrisy is ridiculous, and I'm seeing more and more articles coming out. A lot more people are, and I'm not talking right wingers, you know, people that you could argue are friends of Gina Carano's. I'm talking left wing, classic liberal, or truly liberal, you know, movie stars and comedians and whatnot are starting to come out and talk about how racist Hollywood is. Yeah. And I'm sitting here going, duh, y'all think
they were too focused on Orange Man Bad for the last few years. They weren't paying attention to their own neck of the woods. Yeah. I'm noticing Bill Maher is talking. He's making more and more sense lately. And it's weird because he was not. Anyway, Rosefire has a question for you, though. Is Disney afraid to fire Kathleen Kennedy because they fear the negative publicity that could come with it?
I would say that's part of it, but they have had a great deal of cover for that in how badly once that Forbes article came out, they had carte blanche to do whatever they wanted. No one could come back and say, you're firing her because she's a woman. No, we allowed her to keep making these stupid mistakes because she was a woman. Now we're firing her because she has cost us way too much money.
I like that one rumor where they said she might have dirt on pretty big Hollywood people. I don't know.
It's not one rumor. That's come out from multiple sources too.
Okay.
And I would argue that the fact that her left-hand woman is Leslie Headland, that tells me that the girl who got famous by putting her name on so many movies and fetching coffee for the likes of Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, and that's her claim to fame, she's paid attention and she knows a lot. She knows a lot about a lot of people.
And yeah, interesting. I don't know. You know, there's skeletons in closets out there. They come out every once in a while, but okay. Well, we'll see how this works its way out. I don't plan on watching anything on ABC anytime soon, but we'll see.
I haven't for a very, very long time.
It's funny. I don't watch anything on ABC right now. It's CBS. And to be fair, some of that stuff is getting kind of woke now, too.
Wasn't Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on ABC?
That was the last thing I watched on ABC, right?
I kind of think it's kind of funny because people that are so quick to say, I refuse to support Disney for anything, and Disney is dead to me. Oh, but I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I can't miss an episode of that.
Well, to be fair, that's been off the air. I think it ended last year.
I'm just saying I'm talking about people that have been saying this about Star Wars for so long, but couldn't miss an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Just saying.
Anyway, shall we move on to Luther?
Yep.
You like this article? Okay, this is
I'm going
to read this to you.
Yeah.
This is the height of ridiculousness to me. BBC creative diversity chief Miranda Wayland has claimed Luther doesn't feel authentic due to the lack of representation of Black culture. According to Metro, Wayland addressed the diversity on the BBC show in a recent MIPTV conference. When it first came out, everybody loved the fact that Idris Elba was in there. A really strong black character lead, Whalen began.
Yeah.
We all fell in love with him. Who didn't, right? But after you got into about the second series, you got kind of like, okay, he doesn't have any black friends. He doesn't eat any Caribbean food. This doesn't feel authentic. Luther, which began in 2010, sees the titular detective chief become romantically involved with murderer Alice Morgan, played by Ruth Wilson. Series 5 cast Wunmi Mosaka, his house, in the role of D.S. Catherine Halliday, but few other central characters alongside Luther are played by black actors. Discussing what can be done with the times, Whalen added, it's about making sure that everything around them, their environment, their culture, the set, is absolutely reflective. A BBC spokesperson responded in a statement obtained by Metro. Luther is a multi-award-winning crime drama series, and the iconic role of DCI John Luther has become one of TV's most powerful detective characters, of which we are tremendously proud. My comment under here is they don't sound tremendously proud. Okay, so I guess they're upset that he listens to David Bowie. No, I'm serious.
I know.
You have to write this character a certain way because he's of this race, okay?
Yeah.
And all people of this race, they like to eat this kind of food and listen to this music, and they have these types of friends. I don't even know if he has any friends on this show, to be honest with you. I've seen him on the show. He might hang out with a colleague once in a while. He's not visiting friends. He's being miserable because he's fighting all these horrible serial killers and other types of other types of criminals, okay? And there have been other black characters on the show too, like the one detective woman that was coming after him because she didn't like the fact that he skirted the rules like Dirty Harry does. You know, she was trying to find dirt on him. She was on the show. I don't know what they're talking about here. I'm going to be honest with you. This is a show they should be fine with, but they're not because it's popular and people like it, and that means there's something wrong with it. I'm not understanding this. Okay,
I will tell you exactly what it is. It's really simple when you just put the article aside and look at the entertainment industry for what it is. It's a bunch of racists calling us all racists. Okay. And they have decided that they're going to virtue signal and say that they are inclusive, but then they can't just let people be people, you know. They've got a stereotype, and they can cast somebody and they can have a certain skin color, but that's not enough. You've also got to like certain foods and like certain music and have certain opinions in order to be that color enough. That's what it is. And if you're going to write for that person, those are the things you got to keep in mind. So in other words, you got to stereotype and you got to be racist to be not racist.
But you get yelled at as a writer for stereotyping. And now they're saying if you're not stereotyping, you're not being authentic.
Exactly.
I don't understand what they want. They change the rules. Okay.
This is exactly.
They tell you not to be judging people. Not you and I were told we were growing up that
this is
you're
exactly what Sharon Osbourne's been talking about.
Dr. Martin Luther King, don't judge someone based on the color of their skin. And then you say, well, of course I see her. And now doing that is now the other thing. It's just
what Sharon Osbourne's been talking about. You can never pass their purity test because they'll keep changing the rules on you. So don't even try. There is their criteria for what is pure. And then there's what's truly non-racist. When you really honestly don't care about a person's skin color, you don't care about their gender, you don't care about who they have relationships with because it's none of your business. Okay. I go to see your movie. Did I like the movie? Great. You did a great job. Thanks so much. Okay. Oh, they were black. Didn't really think much about that. Didn't have anything to do with the role. Why do I care?
Yeah.
Oh, the role was originally written for an Asian person? Huh, I didn't think about that.
I didn't think about that. You were just trying to figure out who the killer was. Oh,
right.
Look at this. Troy Pacelli said, Brian Martin, it's always the most pious who are the most guilty of sins they accuse others of. Yep. Get me started on how stupid that attack on Idris is, just plain ignorant. And this is who they have in charge of the programming over there at the BBC. Is that where we're headed over here too? Probably. I mean, it looks like we're going there. I don't understand this. It's like even when you make the show with the checkbox, they're going to find something wrong with it and still attack you over it, right?
Yep.
Not that Luther ever was that, because Luther, they were just casting, they were just casting a big, Idris Elba was a big actor who was on The Wire.
You remember when everyone wanted to cast Idris Elba in everything?
Yeah.
Because Idris Elba and diversity and look at me, I want to cast a black guy in a role.
Which annoyed me because he's a good actor, but he's like the only one they know of. It's like, it's
Yep, exactly my point. This is that virtue signaling. This is look at me. I'm not racist because I'm virtue signaling through my racism that I'm not racist.
Oh, here you go. Age of Boomer Horizon. The point is not establishing a standard. The point is establishing control. Yes. So when you think you're working in the rules, they can change the rules on you, and then you have to admit that you're an istaphobe because you were following the rules they had set up prior for you to follow, and then they change the rules on you, and then they can laugh, then they can attack you again for not for doing all this bigoted stuff. I don't understand this. Okay, this is here we are. More happy time news. Okay, let's go into the world of gaming. How's that sound? Okay.
You're going to have to lead the way because you know gaming better than I do.
Do you know what a PlayStation is?
It's one of those consoles. That's all I know about it.
And
tell me why it's a bad thing or a good thing. I don't know.
Do you know what the PlayStation 3 is? It's the third PlayStation console. PlayStation 4 is the fourth PlayStation console. There we go. Okay, but there's been some news, and this is news I found rather horrifying. Like I said, I don't really do gaming stuff on the stream too much, but this goes back to what you were telling us about owning physical media, right?
Oh, okay.
Game preservation is a big thing now, okay? Because we're finding out, too, that games are going to end up getting lost to time the way a lot of early movies were and other things. You know the game series Silent Hill, right?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I just watched the movie, too, and kind of compared it to playthroughs of the game that I've seen.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, there's a Silent Hill 2 and 3 game, and they were going to remaster those for HD and make an HD collection of them years back, right?
Okay.
And they turned out terribly, and they're saying, what were you guys doing? This turned out terribly. And the guy said, Konami lost the code for the original game.
Is that a joke?
It's not a joke.
Konami lost the code.
The character that the company that owns the games, and they're big deal games right under Metal Gear Solid, okay, and it's quite bigger than Castlevania for Konami. They lost the code to two of their popular games. There's other things happen, like how, like I said, there was a Blade Runner PC game that they're trying to remaster. The studio doing the remastering because they're kind of building, making it all HD and rebuilding it a bit, but they still need the original code. The code for that game has been lost. And they say part of the problem was I think Westwood got sold to EA and then something got lost in the transfer, and they said the code of that game is lost. And they're saying without that code, they don't know if they can do the HD remaster they were planning to release this year of the Blade Runner game from the late 90s. It's just, this is happening all the time. So I know what you're thinking. Well, this is why you got to buy the physical games. You own a copy for posterity, right? Well, maybe not. Let's talk about what's going on with the PlayStation 4 clock battery. And this also goes into the PlayStation 3 a bit too, and maybe even a newer console. Okay, PlayStation 4 may be part of the outgoing generation of consoles, but it's still being sold new, and millions of people will be using them at home for years to come, or at least that's what we would have assumed. Yeah, you can still go to a store and buy a PlayStation 4, which is more than I can say for the PlayStation 5 that is constantly getting sold out and bought because of the chip shortage and all that. Well-respected hacker Lance McDonald has made the surprising claim that the internal clock battery in the console runs out, then the console will no longer be able to play games because of the way that trophies rely on checking the clock. When awarding trophies, the console checks its internal clock to make sure you haven't changed the date or time to cheat in a game. And if it can't do that, then the games can't be run regardless of whether they're digital or physical. So this isn't just the games you bought off the PlayStation Store. This is also your physical discs, okay? Do you know what a trophy is, by the way, Troy? It's the little thing that pops up it's almost like what replaced high scoring. Like you get a little bonus thing. Like if you do certain things in the game, you get a trophy. Okay, then you can upload them online, and people can see if you got a silver or a bronze in a game. It's in my way, it's kind of like the new score. You know, like people did a high score in the arcades. It's sort of like the new version of that. So the CMOS chip that includes the battery can be replaced. So you can replace this battery, okay, but it still needs to connect to a server in order for games to be played. And at some point, Sony is going to switch those off. There's been a lot of talk about the actual stores for the PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, and PlayStation Portable, the two portable game systems and their first HD console. They're going to be getting rid of those stores, and I'm wondering if those servers are also going to shut down as well, okay? Once those are gone, even if you fix this problem, it's going to render your console basically, null and void. You're not going to be able to play games on it. Okay. Now, they're saying we're a long way off of that happening to the PlayStation 4, but the reason McDonald was looking into the issue in the first place was for the Does It Play video game preservation channel. When the PlayStation 4 CMOS battery dies, and it will, it renders all PlayStation 4 digital files unusable without a server reconnection. And in PlayStation 4, it also kills disc playback. See, on PlayStation 3, you can still play your physical discs, but your digital games are also kaput on that. Considering I own about 200 games for my PlayStation 3, this does not make me too happy. Okay, and half of those are digital as well. Okay, I know what you're saying. Why did you buy digital? Sometimes the only way you can get a game is digital. Sometimes when they do a special indie game or re-release, it's only done digitally. Sometimes it's a game that you've been wanting to buy and it's very cheap digitally. Like you can get it for $10 or under, and it's like cheaper than buying the physical. And I figure with all the patches that you have to download, you're not really owning physical media at this point anyway. Okay,
you just need to keep in mind that when you're getting it that cheap, you're not buying it for $10. You're renting it for $10.
This is nonsense.
It for however long you have it for.
I'm getting angry here. Okay,
I'm sorry. I'm just telling you the
I'm
truth.
sorry. This is. If I take care of my stuff, it should work.
I agree with you.
This is a built-in fatal flaw in the console. Okay. I am very.
I've never had that problem with a PC game.
I've been sore about this all week. Yeah, I know. Funny. I never had this problem with consoles until
I
now.
got him so mad that he swore. You heard that, people.
Did I say? Did I cuss?
I think you said the F word there.
Yeah, probably. I'm not happy about this. Okay.
We'll play it back and see.
I'll do a playback.
Do a rewind and see. Did he swear?
I'm angry. I'll do it later anyway.
I guess so.
Okay, whatever. Okay, I'm not happy about this. This is from Screen Rant. Number of PlayStation 4 owners have seemingly proven through various experiments, because Sony was saying, oh, well, like Sony hasn't verified, so it may not be. No, people are proving it now, okay? Various experiments that the console cannot play games once the internal CMOS battery dies. Okay, I knew this could be a problem. Like if my hard drive failed on me, then I would be in deep doo-doo with the PlayStation 3. I didn't know there were other things in there that would also tick off, though, okay? So I'm not happy about this. I am just... I'm wishing I had skipped that whole generation. Okay. Number of PlayStation 4 owners. So they've all done testing. Okay. As the new consoles come out, it's only natural older consoles are discontinued and developers stop supporting them. So they recently announced that the PlayStation 3, PSP, and Vita stores will be closed, which I was expecting to happen. That's normal. Okay. It's annoying, but eventually you're not going to be able to buy things off of those. These closures are scheduled to happen. Okay. But I'm telling you, they're calling it CBOMB on the internet right now. Did you know that?
I'm gonna actually put this in perspective for you, just so you understand how bad a thing this is. Okay, so everybody hates EA games, right? And EA games is notorious for if you download a game from them, you have it on your system and you have to keep downloading patches. And every time you play, you got to go out to their thing. And it's their way of making sure you're not pirating or whatever, right? But at least when they go to a new version of the game and they get to you're at the end of it, they send you a final patch that cuts it off from their servers, and then you can play it all you want on your computer. So at least they do that.
Yeah, well, Sony's
You're not going to have those kinds of options, it sounds like.
Here's what I'm going to say. They bring up the Xbox at this point. I don't give Microsoft credit for a lot. I will give them credit for this. Mm-hmm. They have made a pledge to you.
Okay,
you go.
Let's do a playback. He did not swear.
Oh. Sounded like he was starting to.
Well, I was probably on their way.
Oh, okay.
Okay. This isn't. I
You've
probably
been
want to say
vindicated.
I probably want
Vinny.
to say this wasn't effing funny. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Anyway, though, the Xbox, anything you buy on your Xbox now will work on the Series X. This includes any older games that they also made backwards compatible.
Okay.
Like like the Knights of the Old Republic game that was an Xbox One original release. That you could actually, if you actually own the old disc of that, you can play it on your current Xbox because they made that one backwards compatible. Small steps, not ideal of what I'd want, but they're at least trying. Okay. I am livid though about this news. If I had known that these things had ticking time bombs in them, I never would have bought a PlayStation 3, never would have bought a PlayStation 4. PlayStation 3 was released in 2006. Why are we learning about this now? It's 2021. This is ridiculous. Where are the gaming journalists? Were they doing any investigations into any of this? Could we have known about the problem? Did Sony know about this problem? If there was a fatal flaw in the PlayStation 3, they could have corrected it and not had it exist in the PlayStation 4. And, guess what? Big news. It exists in the PlayStation 5, their recent release console. This is from IGN. Okay, it appears that Sony's short-sighted hardware decision that renders PlayStation 3 and PS4 games unplayable extend to the PlayStation 5 as well. According to a tweet from noted video game preservationist group Does It Play, the PS5 won't play games if its clock battery, also known as the CMOS, dies and you aren't able to connect to Sony servers. What this means is even if you were able to replace your PS5 CMOS, you will still be locked out of your games when Sony decides to shut off servers. Initial testing suggests that this impacts digital games at the moment, though if it's anything like the PlayStation 4, you expect physical games to be affected as well. And I'm going to say this, even if your physical games, you could get them working again. If you can't download those patches, some of those could be buggy messes, okay?
True.
This whole thing is a mess. What's the quote I have down here? It's that awful quote I hate. It's the hold on. Well, this is a long article. Okay. Yeah. Let me see. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
Yep.
Well, these games aren't. Some of these games work cheap.
I've been telling you, you'll own nothing. You decide whether or not you're happy.
Okay. Well, something. I'm sorry. A lot of these games, they come out, they sell them for $60 a pop. Okay. And you're saying it's not even going to work in a few years because your system's going to die on you, and I can't play it on the new console because you don't have backwards compatibility. I don't know what they're thinking. See, Xbox, even if there is these ticking time bombs in the Xbox, they will let you play it on the next console. Okay, granted, you got to go buy the next console now, but I don't know. And think about it. There are games on the PlayStation 4 that have never been released on anything else.
So now you've added a whole
PlayStation 3.
You've added another level to this. I said, then you're not buying it, you don't own it, you're renting it. You're saying that it will work on the next platform.
No,
so it's not
with Sony, with Microsoft.
Okay,
with the Xbox. The Xbox will let it work. Not everything. Like, for instance, the 360, some games are made backwards compatible.
But think
some
about
games
this.
don't
Even
work.
if that was true, you're not renting it, you're leasing it. You're just extending your lease.
Well, this is ridiculous. You know what I like about my old Super Nintendo cartridges? I mean, knock on wood, even the battery saves still work on them. I have a high-def Super Nintendo. I can plug them in. They work. I own them, okay?
Yeah.
I don't feel that way with anything post-internet age. When they started having the internet, you had to use the internet for everything. Nintendo tends to make pretty good products, so they don't tend to break like this. We'll see. Knock on wood.
Yep.
Joy-Con drift's a thing. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm going nuts. And the thing is, I can't even attack games because gaming at least hasn't been completely taken over by the woke crowd. They are there in patches, especially over at Sony. That's one of the reasons why when I got the PlayStation 4, I got it right before Sony went full on woke, and that's when I switched over to Xbox. But I'm now glad I didn't spend as much money on that console as I would have because, geez, it's gonna die on me.
Yep.
So where to go from here? By the way, I think Xbox, the whole reason they're having everything be backwards compatible is because I believe that they are trying to compete with Steam. Steam has games on there forever, right? Technically, you can just re-download them again. Okay. I think Microsoft's trying to do that kind of service. That's why a lot of these older games, they're also available digitally, so you don't have your old physical disc. You can still buy a digital version and download it. I'm horrified by this whole thing, though. I'm livid. I don't want to own a bunch of plastic coasters that don't do anything, and games are going to get lost because of this. Like I said, I have games on the PlayStation 3. They were only released on that console. Okay, for instance, 3D Dot Game Heroes, which is a weird like Zelda clone that was only released on the PlayStation 3. I've never seen it on any other console. That's going to get lost. Okay. Unless the company still held on to the code and they do a re-release, in which case I have to buy it again. I don't like this. I like CDs. You buy a CD, it works on anything. Okay. You buy DVDs and Blu-rays, there are rights protections in them, but they still work on current stuff. Gaming, it's all stuck to these platforms that come out every few years. Okay. And Microsoft, I think, is changing that. I don't know. I'm rambling now, aren't I?
No,
okay.
I get what you're saying. There's one other thing that I think that Sony and companies like that want to believe, and that's, why do you need the game forever? Once you've played it, you're done.
That's what the head of Sony said. Who wants to play these old games anyway? He was quoted on a conference. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
there are still PS1 games I'd like to play. I love the old Resident Evil games.
So for all that I talk about not knowing these games, there is one game on one console that I do know. Well, yeah, Zork, but that's old PC game. PlayStation 3 had a game called Resistance: Fall of Man.
Yes.
You know the game? Okay.
Yeah. Only available on PlayStation 3, by the way. They didn't even bother bringing any of this out for PlayStation 4.
Yep. And
not even a re-release.
I played that game at one of my old companies because they had a PlayStation there, and it was the only game that I was really interested in. And I was surprised because I sat down with this PlayStation with exactly the same attitude you hear me saying about these kinds. I don't know how to play these stupid things. Kind of figured it out, and I was like, not only was it a good game, but it was pretty user friendly. I was able to figure it out pretty quickly. Played all the way through it. I mean, it took me, I don't know, year and a half or something like that, playing on my breaks and at lunchtime. But I played all the way through it. Now, I don't own it. I don't own PlayStation 3. I don't own the game, and I don't care because I've played it. I'm done with it. But chances are I am not the target demographic for games like this either,
Yeah. Well, it's fine that you were able to play it and be done with it. And that I am more of a collector, and being a collector nowadays it's not working. And to be fair, I knew this years ago too. I knew, this console ever breaks on you, you could be up a creek as far as all this stuff goes. But
well, look at it this way: you're collecting it and you've got it. You just can't play it.
Great. Maybe I should leave my PlayStation 3 in its box forever, and maybe the battery won't die on me. It's probably going to die no
That's
matter
what a
what
collector would do, yeah.
And this is I'm telling you, I don't like this new age we're living in. I don't. Like I said, I tend to think that Microsoft has some ulterior motive that we're going to find out about. It's going to be awful, but right now they seem to be doing the right thing as far as at least allowing anything I purchase on my Xbox One, it will work on their subsequent systems. So
yeah,
it's awful though. It's like because we make the point, own physical media, but with gaming, can you really do that these days? Because even if you buy a game, especially a lot of these Western developed games, they're filled with patches, and they'll add all other stuff on. And for instance, sometimes the updates are neat. Like I got this game called Bloodstained, which is by the guy that made the Castlevania games. Mm-hmm. He gave a bunch of free updates. It's kind of like DLC, but he didn't charge you for them. He just kept adding more and more modes onto your already existing product, which was kind of neat because it's like you got extra stuff.
Sure,
it wasn't part of the original game.
I've heard Green Lion Girl talk about this on her channel.
Mm-hmm.
There is this idea now that because there is such a push to get these games put out in a certain amount of time, they'll put out games that are completely unplayable, and then they'll download a patch to fix it later. That's how they extend their development time, and it's all half-assed. And honestly, my personal opinion of this is I blame the consumers. You allow this. You continue to throw your money at these companies and let them treat you this way.
Yeah, and you shouldn't do that. But the trouble with like especially something like Cyberpunk is that CD Projekt Red had a good reputation before that game came out. Like they released the Witcher game that everybody loved, and everyone had high hopes for Cyberpunk. Then it comes out and it's this mess,
and that's fine. And so what needs to happen is the gamers have to go, I demand my money back, or
a lot of them did.
Yeah, and then you don't buy it again. You go, you've lost my goodwill.
In fact, I'll say this even for Sony. You know, Sony said when Sony found out how much of a mess that was, they took it off their digital store and they offered refunds. They said, "No, we're not. You know, you either get this working or it's not going to be sold on here." And that's how bad it was.
With something like this, you got to go screw it. I'm not buying your PlayStation 5 unless you fix this problem.
Well, you can't buy a PlayStation 5 even if you wanted to because the scalpers keep. I don't know why everyone's in a rush to get a PlayStation 5. I guess they're
especially now after what you've told me about this PlayStation 4. If I was in the market now for a console, I'd say, you know what? I heard the story about PlayStation 4. Why would I want a PlayStation 5?
So that wouldn't be the one you'd get. Okay.
Absolutely not.
Mr. Matchstick makes a point, though. The sheer amount of times I've replayed Arkham City, hundreds of hours at a minimum, I wasn't able to play it again. I would be pissed. I'm going to say this. PlayStation 3, why did I buy it? I hadn't planned to buy it. I had a Nintendo Wii, which I know had its own issues, especially when you throw the Wii remote at your TV and break it. Like we just had a comment on that. But I was trying to stick it out with the Wii, and I said I don't really want to go out and buy a PlayStation 3. This is more money. I don't want to spend because I don't typically like to own more than one console per generation. But they announced Batman: Arkham Asylum, and it was being written by Paul Dini. He wrote for Batman the animated series. Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill were back as Batman and the Joker, and I'm like, I need to get a PlayStation 3 to play Batman Arkham Asylum. And why didn't I buy an Xbox instead? Because at that point, the Xbox had the Red Ring of Death. You know what the Red Ring of Death was? You buy your Xbox console and it breaks, and apparently there was a design flaw in that, and you had to mail it back to Microsoft, and they'd send you a new one. It would break. I was talking to a friend. He's like, "Oh, Mom, my third Xbox broke." I'm like, "Wow, that must be a fluke thing." Oh no, that was common.
Wow.
Because it was actually cheaper to send it out than to do a recall and a redesign. Okay, than just replace people's consoles, and that's why I was not on board with Microsoft. Now Microsoft seems to be doing better with this sort of thing, and now Sony is now. Yeah. This whole thing's a headache. Every generation, someone's the villain, someone's the good guy. And Nintendo's usually doing its own weird thing. Anyway, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 11 o'clock. That's all. I had my rant here.
Feel better?
No.
Got that off your chest?
No, I don't feel better about this. No. You don't understand. I
understand.
I have a lot of PlayStation 3, even more than the PlayStation 4, which I kind of wrote off anyway, because I got mad at them over other reasons. But the PlayStation 3, I still like that console, and the fact that there's a ticking time bomb in it, and also the fact that it took them this long to figure this out. This is like 15 years, almost 15 years later, and we're finding out about these what they call CBOMBs in it now, and that these things are going to blow up the console, and it's like. It's just it's a headache. This is the trials of being a gamer. Okay.
Yep,
anyway, the old PS3 had the Y-Lod. What is that? Look that up for me, will you, Troy? I know. Okay.
Y-Lod. Okay, I'll look up Y-Lod.
I don't really play with the PlayStation 4. PlayStation
Yellow
4
Light of Death.
Is fine as a console. I just that they went really woke over there at Sony toward the end. What was it called again?
Yellow Light of Death.
I never got one of those, so I had a good one. Okay, I think it was rarer than the problems with Microsoft.
The Yellow Light of Death is a common problem which affects all models of PlayStation 3, more so the original FATS models and early Slim models.
I had an early Slim model. Am I safe?
Nope. It affects all.
Okay,
models.
Well, whatever. I'm sure it's just going to explode on me and burn my house down in the process. Okay, let's move on. Horizon Talker says Nintendo is Al Borean from Home Improvement. He looks over the fence and tuts at whatever this generation's disaster is.
Yeah,
well, of course, the Wii had its own issues, like the fact that they were selling a standard definition console. And during a period when you could no longer even buy a standard definition television set. Let's move on. Okay, we're done. We're done for tonight. Happy week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cheer me up, Troy.
Well, I will. Tuesday night, tune into Mr. Matchstick's channel, where in the Cultural Fortress we will be talking about things from the past, shows and movies, and whatnot that we remember fondly, that have escaped the scourge of the SJW taint, either because they've gone overlooked or just because they're so old, nobody's touching them now. But you should be aware of them because they are and were good. That's Tuesday night over on Mr. Matchstick's channel. Excuse me, I was right, on Mr. Matchstick's channel, Cultural Fortress. Wednesday night on Soundtracks with Birdman, they will be doing a watch party for, remind me again, Boomer?
Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah, one of those MCU movies. I'm guessing it probably had a good soundtrack or something. And of course, if you care about gaming, definitely also on Wednesday nights check out Green Lion Girl, and Friday nights too. Friday night I'll be getting drunk, ranting about something on Friday night if you want to come join me. And then on Saturday, watch party over on Big Al Presents. We'll be watching Netter. Do you remember what we're watching on Saturday? The Great Outdoors.
Yeah, I'll be there for that.
Yep. Boomer and the Birdman are going to be there, and Netter and I will sit back and eat popcorn.
Yes, I think Sound and Grave probably is a stream tomorrow. I actually sent her a video on how they made Super Nintendo music because she's doing videos on that. No, it's different. It's the Super Nintendo music. It's like I can't do an imitation of it. I don't know. Never mind.
Oh, Mr. Awful. Matchstick is reminding me about the Streamlabs OBS stream tomorrow. So,
okay,
if you want to sneak peek and see how we are testing out the system, keep an eye out for that. If you are subscribing to these channels and you have hit the notification bell, you will catch unguarded moments, like when Soundtracks with Birdman does a test stream and you can shoot off some notes at him while he's trying to get his audio to work, and it doesn't work and you can't hear anything. And it's a lot of fun.
Okay. You'll have to have a cool topic to talk about. I don't know. Anyway. All right. I'll catch y'all on the flip side. We'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
I got to get going because I have myself a non-terminal repeating phantasm, class 5, real nasty one, and Netter wants me to go take care of it.
Okay. Y'all have a good night.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.